What's up, guys?
Hi, welcome back.
Welcome to episode 15.
I am Kristina.
I'm Steven.
Sometimes we introduce ourselves, sometimes we don't.
Sometimes.
So, I don't know. We're still getting the hang of this intro thing.
In case you're watching on YouTube, welcome to our new setup. We improvised, and I think this looks a lot better, and it feels a lot more natural.
The couch, sometimes we start to slouch 10 minutes in, so I feel like this kind of helps us stay alert and more talk show like.
Yeah,
so.
and conversation when we're sitting up and postured up just flows better.
Yeah,
just feels
as
better.
I adjust my mic, so I have to sit up.
Just out, back straight.
Yeah, but no, I feel like this is good. I like this side a little bit better.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going down to one episode a week for now. We both have gotten more work recently. I'm back to working almost 40 hours a week at my job doing miscellaneous things until everything opens back up officially. And I know you've had work with photography and stuff like that.
Yeah, still doing some real estate photography because real estate here in Florida is still doing pretty well, which is good. And still trying to do that part-time.
Yeah. So it's good. We have money coming in and we can pay our rent and we can buy food now. So
I love food. I'm glad we can actually afford that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one episode a week is good because it gives people just enough to watch and keep up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I feel like we can put more into one episode, more just quality as opposed to just trying to rush through 2 episodes a week. So
yeah.
It's good.
I'm glad that we're up to double digits and
yeah, we got our foundation laid.
Yeah.
So we have a few
I feel like there's a good
there.
Personality
yeah.
we have there now. So it's good. What else is going on? Another life update. How are you doing?
So I've had a pretty shitty week.
We talked about this a little bit before we started, and we're just gonna be really honest.
Yeah,
and
we're all about being positive, but there's a point where I think we both realize this past week, 2 weeks have just been shitty, and I think a lot of people have been going through emotional roller coasters no matter how mentally sound they are. And this past week was one of the most challenging weeks I've had, and I'm not even sure why, because I started working again, but just the lack of social connection and the lack of being out and the lack of just consistency. And it's just it's really started to mess with my head. So sitting inside my couch all day long, playing video games, not being able to go out and interact with females and hang out with my friends and stuff like that, it just really, really fucked me up.
Yeah, it's starting to take a toll.
Yeah.
Because we're 6 weeks into this, and it just seems like it's going to be a really long time until we know what normal is again. And a big thing for me too, I mean, I've had a really stressful week, and it just is hard to look at or think about the future when we have no promise of consistency. And I don't know, I just feel not myself. I feel I'm living in this different version of me. And I mean, some of it has been really good for internal reflection, but sometimes you don't want to deal with your feelings 24/7. So I don't know, I feel I've definitely had to face a lot of things in my life, relationship wise, emotions I'm just feeling that sometimes I bury with distraction. I feel all of these things are coming to the surface, and it's what you do and what you work through in this time of inner self-healing will reflect once life starts back up again. We might see career expansion, or you know what I mean, where I'm trying to see how the things that I'm blocking in other parts of my life are stopping from progression in maybe my career, or just these financial blocks that I've recognized the past 6 to 8 months might be because of other areas of my life. So I have to heal those first to make sure that I can expand in the other places. So I think that's just really what the point of all of this has been, even on a collective, consciousness type, is that people just naturally bury their feelings. That's what we've been taught. So
yeah. My personal experience in these past couple weeks is last week specifically, I was at the peak of some of my bad habits, and I was just not moving forward. I was just watching negative stuff, just wasting time, passing time, did nothing constructive. And usually back when everything was normal, like I was always like reading something positive, working on something positive, but like last week was one of the worst I've ever been with my bad habits.
Really?
And I like really brought me down. I felt like shit every single day. And then eventually got to a point where I just felt so bad one day, and then I was like, you know what, like I need to like swap it up, and like swapping it up and like talking to a friend about it and like doing things differently. Now I feel some of my energy coming back. I feel better. I'm working again. I got some money coming in again, so like stuff is good. But the time period that these past couple weeks has, like the stuff that it's shown me, specifically like me being alone, like I fucking hate being alone. And like I knew I hated being alone before, but now that like this is happening and like I have no source of social interaction, it's really shown me how much I don't like to just be by myself. And
why is that?
I don't know, like I don't really think it's like a necessarily a bad thing, but it's something that I should work on. But I just thrive so much off of being around other people and other people's energy, and that's why I like bartending. That's why I'm always doing work in coffee shops, because if I'm just by myself, I just don't feel good.
And it's just part of, I think, your nature too, because like Geminis are very like stimulated, and by Mercury, like you gain energy by talking and expressing and communicating. So like naturally you're a very extroverted person, and like your Capricorn moon is all about feeling. Your emotions are based off of your success. So if you feel like you're succeeding or progressing, that's when you feel emotionally stable. So
100%.
It makes sense that you're having a very difficult time right now, because like everything that's naturally your being feels more comfortable when you are talking to people, and not, you're not like a very like water feely person, or like an earth like introverted type. Like you gain energy by being extroverted. So
and now I've been forced to be introverted, and I've been forced to be stuck with my own feelings, and it's not
hard.
fun. It's not fun at all.
It's so hard. And like I think when you just say that, like, yeah, you're forced to like feel things, like I think that's such a like blanket statement on what's going on. Like some feelings we have of being alone will bring you back to childhood trauma, or like when you like stopped a relationship, or it'll bring you back to traumatic points in your life where you felt like it was the bottom. Like it's a heavy feeling if you're not used to being alone, especially like in this situation. We've never had this type of like aloneness, like never. I don't think I've ever felt this way before. So
yeah, I've never been so isolated from just like friends and just like people. And like it's weird too, because like I'm the king of like not texting people back, and I'm the king of just like ignoring people and ghosting people and stuff like that. So it's like, as lonely as I am, I've still noticed that so many of the friendships and connections that I had before, just because of people that I could just go out and just see, like at work or just at a coffee shop, I'm not around these people anymore. So like that small little bit of like interaction is completely cut off, but at the same time I'm also not like making any action to do
There's
that.
no new connections coming in.
But I think, I don't know, I feel like everything might be opening back up soon. Like they've been like scheduling us back at work. A lot of the restaurants around our area have been like opening back up for takeout, and I think they're talking about opening up the beaches again soon and opening up the gyms again soon. I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea, but
I think everybody's really torn, because yes, we want life to go back to being like normal and open, but like that's not what it's gonna be. Like if things start to open again, there's gonna be this like feeling of, okay, when is this like second wave gonna hit? Like it's gonna be an energy of like, we could be contacting this and we don't even know it. Like it's not gone, so it's like
it didn't just magically disappear in thin air.
It's just that we're torn
there,
because we're impatient and we're like so tired of being like stuck at home. But that doesn't mean like things are going to be back to how it was. Like I think it's going to be a long time before that's a thing.
Just like the Spanish flu all over again. I think there was like the first wave of the Spanish flu had hit, and then everything was fine, and then the second wave came in. It hit so much stronger than the first wave. And like the second that one of my friends told me that like everything was going to open up again, my immediate thought was like there's going to be a second wave.
Yeah.
There has to be a second wave.
It's going to happen. That's what happens every single time. So.
When second wave happens and we're stuck inside making a podcast again, we can play this clip back.
Be like, we called it.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it. I don't know. It's a very strange time we're living in. And I love that we just decided to start a podcast as soon as this, literally the week that this shit happened, we launched. And like, it's just weird because we planned that like 2 months out. Like we started making this podcast in early January and we were like, oh, the first day of spring, like let's launch. That makes sense.
Who would have thought?
It's so weird, like how things, it's just not a coincidence, you know?
Do you think there's anything that you've learned from all of this happening? Like not necessarily like self-reflection, but just things that when things do go back to normal, quotation marks, when they do go back to normal, are you going to do anything differently? Are you going to make any changes?
I think I will hopefully bring this awareness with me and kind of start to feel more grateful for just like day-to-day life. And I don't know, we complain about going to work and just being like overwhelmed or feeling like we're like too busy and stuff, but like I really miss my part-time job. Like I miss being outside. I miss making drinks or like literally talking to like old rich people. Like I miss that because there's just like natural connection and people just need to have interaction with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I want to take like this lesson of day-to-day life, like things that we feel like we have to do are a blessing, and having routine is a blessing. Like I am such like a more stable person when I know like what my week is gonna consist of.
Totally.
You know, it's such a like, and I did realize that like that stability I rely on emotionally. Now that I don't have that, I feel like I've emotionally been like up and down. Like my anxiety, like heavy anxiety is back. Like I talked about it a few episodes ago, but like I'll have panic attacks in the middle of the night and like that's just not me. And I've also been like really aware of my drinking, which is crazy because yeah, seriously, like I would be the first person to deny having an issue, but like once this shit started happening and like 3 weeks in, I was like, oh, I'm using this. I didn't want to admit it before, but now I'm like, yeah, I need to be careful with that, and I need to just maybe have like a drink or two because it's just like a depressant and it makes you clock out for a little while.
Agreed.
Even though I'm not getting like fucking blackout drunk, like it's like anything else. So I think I've definitely learned lessons in addiction and how important like stability is, you know?
Yeah, so, I like that.
Yeah,
like that.
I think that's probably the most things, like those are the two things that have come up the most for me, other than just like feeling things when they need to be felt. Like, do you ever have, like, say there's something you need to do and you think of it and you're like, I'll do that later. I feel like that thought, whenever I have that thought right now, I'm like, since I'm thinking it, that means I need to deal with it right now. Yeah. Instead of being like, oh, well, I'll just go do that later.
And there's no better time for it. It's like there's nothing really that's distracting us from doing those things that we need to do.
Right. There's nothing urgently that needs to be done before that. Like, I need to just do it, you know? So, yeah. How about you? Do you feel like you've taken something from all this?
Yeah, I would say so. I think I've really, like, I knew it was important to save money before, but now seeing, like, how real something like this could actually be, grateful that, like, we have, like, unemployment and, like, the stimulus check and all that stuff like that. But being stuck at home, not being able to go out and spend money at bars, not being able to go out and spend money on, like, food all the time. I mean, I still can, but just being forced to be home all the time, I've realized that I don't need to spend $10, $15, $20 a day on food. I don't need to spend $5 a day on coffee, and I don't need to just be going out and doing stupid shit. So, like, when everything does open back up, even thinking, like, if a second wave does come, I now understand the importance of putting away far more money than I ever have before just to have it there. And even if nothing happens, it's better safe than sorry, because no one expected this to happen.
No.
So, and if I had money in the beginning of this just saved up, I would have had a lot more peace of mind throughout this entire thing, because a lot of my mental health has definitely fluctuated up and down, just knowing like, I don't know if I'm going to pay rent this month, which everything's worked out and it's been good. But like the times of when I wasn't sure, it's been really stressful. So between that and also to just not always having to go out with people, even though I thrive off of it, it's definitely teaching me that I should be more comfortable just being by myself and taking the time to like read books and go outside and do those things. So it's the importance of all of that self-care is a lot more stressed now than it ever was before.
And you had like a good awareness of it before, but like, and that's the point of all this. It doesn't matter like how far you were in like your spiritual practice or, you know, just like mentally where you were at before this. Like everybody has felt the weight of what's going on. Like it doesn't matter who you are, you're dealing with shit right now that you've buried or you know, avoided or whatever.
It's all surfacing for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's good though. I think, you know, in a few years from now, thinking as positively as I can about this, we'll look back on this time and be like, shit, that's when I made changes in my, you know, like self-care practice, or my mental health changed then. Because it, like, you need those breaking points in life to change things.
Yeah, break down the old, build up the new.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's so true. I had something else written down.
Oops.
Oh, no.
Dropped my phone. How's your relationship to your health been?
Physical health, pretty good. I feel like I actually have a more structured like yoga routine, which is cool. Like I try to practice like every day for 30 minutes, and that's really not that much, but it's just enough to feel like I've connected with my physical body. Mental, emotional health, I've noticed a lot more things than I did before, back to kind of like avoiding feelings. And I think one emotion that I've like really like let myself feel is just like sadness. And I meant to bring this up earlier, but like just feeling okay with not feeling my best. Like that's been huge during all this, is that like I don't always have to feel like positive and great, because fucking life is not positive and great. Like it is not right now. Like everyone could feel the heaviness of what's going on. Life is changing, and like we're taught to like avoid all these negative feelings. Like you shouldn't cry, you shouldn't feel sad, you shouldn't be angry, but that is emotion trapped in your body. So like when people don't cry, like that's being stored somewhere else, and like
comes out eventually.
Yeah, and you might like develop like physical issues because you're not expressing that. So I think I'm just learning to be more comfortable with like negative emotions coming out of me, and like not being like, oh, I don't cry, or like just burying those issues. So yeah, I think I'm becoming more comfortable with like my anxiety, and like just like when something feels wrong, like intuitively like being like, this isn't right, you know, like just being honest with myself. So
I remember, I think it was last week when I had texted you when I was at like a super low point, and I was like, I'm just having a really shitty week, and you said something about that, about how you're accepting that it's okay to just feel negative and like you're not feeling your best. And like I kind of needed to hear that, because like I've always been like, no matter what's happening, no matter how bad life is, I'm always like, no, life's still great, life's still good, everything's good, because like I always see the silver lining in it. But like especially through this now, realizing that I can't just continuously keep on trying to force myself to be happy when I know like things are wrong. So hearing that was a good perspective, and it kind of put me in a better headspace to accept that not everything's okay, and that's fine. So
we're almost on the opposite spectrum of like very pessimistic people. Like I think we're so hyper aware of not wanting to be negative that we do the opposite. We're like, oh, it's okay. We're very like what's the word? Like, even non-confrontational, we're both like that, where we don't want to fight with people. So we'll just be like, it's okay. I'm sorry. Like, let's not talk about it. Like, it's the opposite of like a very negative person where all they do is like search for a fight or an argument.
So, I think we're both the most passive people that I know.
Yes. Passive is like such a good word because
everything.
Like, for me, I didn't realize before all of this that that's not any better than being negative. We're still avoiding. Yeah.
It's still going to linger. Sometimes you just have to face it head on and just take care of your problems.
Yeah. And the honesty of being like, I don't feel good today and there's something I have to work through, instead of being like, oh, I'm okay. Like, it's fine. I think you need to have that. Obviously, you need to see like the future of like, this will be okay, but being present with the emotions you feel and feeling them and not just like putting them on the back burner. So
I totally agree.
It's hard to do, especially when you're like forced in this environment of being like, you can't do anything else unless you just want to distract yourself your whole life on like Netflix or whatever. Yeah,
it's definitely it's a good learning experience. It's a good growing experience. And like all the people that have always said like, oh, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, like I can't work out because this and that. Like, I've seen more people working out and doing things they've said they don't have time for than I've ever seen. Like, the parks are full of people, everyone's active, people are reading books, people are doing all kinds of things. And like, if anyone comes out of this quarantine and they're still saying like, oh, I don't have time for this, like, well, guess what, you just had a 2-month break from life. If you didn't have time for it then, like, you just don't want it bad enough.
Right, you're avoiding it. And that's also like a very positive point of all this, is that you go outside and you see people walking and spending time with their kids or just exercising and being outside. There's a type of awareness that has happened that we didn't have pre-COVID, you know?
I feel like this could really be bringing families together, like kids that don't get to see their parents enough and stuff like that. Like, this could be something that helps them. And like, maybe not with couples because they might be spending too much time together, but like maybe married couples that have like haven't had time to like connect because they're too busy working, like they could be building a new relationship off of this. Like, I think there's a lot of positive that's coming out of all the time that people will be spending together throughout this.
And I think the amount of time people are spending together with their significant other could also be like, they don't want to like continue this. It could be a breaking point for a lot of people, and
could
that's
be what
okay.
They need.
Exactly. It's like, it'll give them enough like momentum to be like, okay, we need to figure something out, so because we're not comfortable.
Can't stand your significant other during coronavirus, it's okay to break up.
just
do
let
it.
Yourself,
just get it done.
Like, do what you need to do. Like, honor your feelings, you know?
Yeah. And that's my roommate's dog barking. Kygo. Let's see.
Kygo agrees with everything I just said. What else?
As far as like when life does return to normal, what do you want to see change? Like, what do you want when you can wake up in the morning, have a routine, go back to work? What do you want to see different than what we used to have?
Ooh. I can't say like appreciation, because I feel like I've been a very like grateful person the past like year or two. Like, I do really honor like the day. Like, that's one thing I do try to do, is think of like 3 things I'm grateful for in the morning. I think I want to change like how I connect with people. Even like keeping up relationships and like asking people if they're okay. Like, I feel like I've been more aware of everyone else's like mental health, because I've been so like in mine, because I've been dealing with all these like feelings, and I think I've become understanding that everyone else is feeling probably very similar. So when things get busy again, I just want to make time for people that are like lifelong friends. Like, I've been like FaceTiming my friends Kelsey, Becca, and Reba for the past like 5 weeks now, every Wednesday, and they're like high school friends, and we haven't talked this consistently since that time, and we're talking like almost 10 years ago. So like, that has been really like, that's been life changing to keep in touch with them on a weekly basis. So I think just like valuing my like friendships and like the people that mean the most to me, that's such like a cheesy answer, but it really is, because that's when shit happens like this, when you don't have your job or like your income isn't stable, like you search for things that like make you feel like a person. Like when you're at your lowest, you go to your friends to like talk to them, or family, depending on like your situation. Those are the people that lift you up. Like your bank account will not make you emotionally stable. Like
I
you
love
need
that.
to express that. So yeah, I think that's probably one thing I'm still working on. There's like a list of people that I'm like still trying to like reach out to. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. What about you?
I think just collectively, like I want to be more of a kind person just to like everyone when I go out. And like, you know,
are though, like you've already been.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. But I feel like knowing that the entire human race just like went through this together, when everything comes back to normal, like instead of like getting mad at people for being stupid on the road or like stuff like that, like I'm sure I still probably will get mad, but just spending more time to just take an extra thought before I act on something that happens. And like if I can make someone's day, or if I can just spread any more positivity than usual, I think that that's just good. I don't know if it's necessarily related to what's happening, but it just makes me realize that like small little things and just human connections and just being kind and stuff like that is like so important in times of uncertainty. And it's just a good thing to do. So that, and also to staying connected with friends and stuff. I probably haven't stayed connected with my friends as much as I should have. I'm sorry, guys, but
two-way street though.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I totally agree with you on that, and I just think that small little random acts of kindness and just being a nice person, even more so than I already was before, is going to be really important to me. Yeah. So
it's so valuable. Like even someone like complimenting like your shoes or like something like that, like you don't realize that kind of like wakes you up in public situations.
Paying for someone's parking ticket or buying someone's coffee, just little thing, because then that spreads to someone just like a virus. It literally, you do something nice for someone and then that person's like, oh awesome, I want to do something nice for this person. It doesn't always happen, but think about the chain reaction of doing something like that. Yeah, that's
a good point. Like especially when you receive like a kindness, like an act of kindness like that, you automatically feel like you want to pass that to someone else. And then when you do it, you also feel like great. You're like, oh good, like I made someone's day. So in reality, that's almost like a gift to yourself by doing something for someone else, because you naturally feel good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a really good point. So yay.
But thank you for listening, guys, and we hope the rest of your quarantine is good. We hope everyone can pay their rent. And just keep your head up, and it's okay to not be okay, but it'll be okay. So yeah.
That's good. I like that. All right. Adios.
Peace out, guys.